Hey ladies and gentlemen, what's up? Welcome back to Coffee and Current Events. Today I have another Ukraine update for you guys, and this one is big news concerning the recent Kharkiv counteroffensive. But before we jump into this video, be sure to smash that subscribe button and share this video with a friend or family member. That way they can get these consistent updates without the bias of modern media. Now that you've subscribed, we'll jump into this video. As everyone well knows, the recent Ukrainian counteroffensive all over Kharkiv has taken the Russians completely by surprise, and Ukraine has allegedly recaptured a 6,000 square kilometers of territory. The Ukrainians are proving to be very good at making pontoon bridges, and they crossed it. And they had over 5 pontoon bridges over the Osk River, and they crossed it, capturing the town of Kiev Sharivka right here, and also making some advances near Borova. But the big news does not come from Kharkiv, my friends. It comes from Donetsk, right down here. Ukrainian forces have recaptured the town of LYMAN, and this is tremendous. Frankly, this is a horrific disaster for the Russian military, and there's multiple reasons, and I'll tell you why. Number one, it's a bad reason for the press and for the public opinion of the war. Lately, the Russian government has been trying to prop up public opinion, saying, yes, we've retreated, yes, we've withdrawn from Kharkiv, most of the Kharkiv area, but we are planning to do multiple other things. We're just regrouping in Donetsk, and with Putin's recent annexation of the 4 regions, including parts of Kherson, Zaporozhye, Donetsk, and Luhansk, this is now more of a PR stunt. It seems like the Russian government is trying to prop up public opinion with its massive annexation, and besides, Putin did call for partial mobilization of the military. So in the people's heads, at least this is what they're hoping to present, yes, they may be winning, but we will end up coming in there, we'll end up smashing them. However, on the battlefield currently, that's not what's going on. Ukrainian forces recaptured the town of LYMAN. Now here's the thing, LYMAN may not seem like a big deal, it may not seem like a big strategic position, however it is, okay? With Ukrainian forces launching their Kharkiv counteroffensive, they were able to take many towns. However, not too many people paid attention to Donetsk. Ukrainian forces retook Sievertohorsk right here, and they retook the town of Ozern, and they retook the town of Yampil, and they also retook Bilohorivka. These towns may not seem important, but they pushed the Russian forces almost all the way back to the Luhansk border, and that is huge. As you can see right here, Bilohorivka is actually inside Luhansk, which will be the first town inside Luhansk to be recaptured by Ukrainian forces. This puts Ukrainian forces in reach of Lysychansk and Severodonetsk, and the capture of LYMAN puts Ukrainian forces in reach of Kreminna right here, which is probably where the Ukrainians are going to push after. By losing LYMAN, Russian forces have proven once again how inept they can be on the field of combat. And it is my personal opinion that the Russian military is defeated more by their own ineptitude than by the Ukrainian forces. Because look at this, Ukrainian forces have been advancing towards LYMAN for a while. It wasn't like they just popped up in LYMAN and just showed up and the Russians were all surprised. It wasn't even like that. The Russian forces had to know they were coming, and if they didn't, that shows how ridiculous or supposed military intelligence actually is. Because Ukrainians were making swift advances from the northwest, from here near Izium, right here in this area. As you can see, they were making swift advances, and they're also pushing from the Slavyansk area all the way to LYMAN. LYMAN was the target. It was quite clear to everyone that LYMAN was the target. In fact, they nearly surrounded the Russians in that LYMAN salient, and then only now on October 1st, the Russians withdrew. It was a last-minute withdrawal and a hasty withdrawal, and if the Russians would not have withdrawn that swiftly, they would have been completely surrounded. With LYMAN now captured, Ukrainian forces are likely to push their offensive and continue to Kreminna and possibly Lysychansk and Severodonetsk, opening a way for them to gain a foothold in Luhansk. Now, before we get all excited about a Ukrainian counteroffensive in Luhansk, let me tell you some other information that may just happen to put this option a little in doubt. Let me explain. Okay, according to reports from the Donetsk People's Republic right here, Ukraine is attempting to surround Donetsk city right here. I don't know how legit this is either, but reports from the DNR are suggesting this, and if that be the case, Ukraine could be really planning an offensive down here in the south, or they could be planning an offensive right here in Zaporozhye. Let me explain. Now, when this thing first started, the Ukrainians said they were going to launch a massive offensive near Kherson right here. And the thing about this was they actually did, with about 35,000 personnel pouring over this area and attempting to launch an offensive and make a break for Kherson. As we know, it didn't go as well as expected, and despite the fact that Vyskopilya and smaller towns around here were taken, the Ukrainians' deepest penetration seems to be right here near Sukhoi Stavak, and is still as far from its goal of Berislav, and Kherson is still safe in Russian hands. For now. However, one thing this Ukrainian offensive did was it forced the Russians to reinforce their positions down here in Kherson, therefore withdrawing troops from the northern area. And this seemed to have opened some kind of weak spot near Kharkiv. That's why the Ukrainian counteroffensive was so successful. Now with the Russians all caught up in Kharkiv and Donetsk, this will make it seemingly perfect for the Ukrainians to attack down here in Zaporozhye. With Russian forces all cut up here and all their reserves likely going here, this could open a severe weak spot in the Russian forces down here in Zaporozhye. And if the Ukrainians are somehow able to reach the city of Melitopol, they will cut the Russian forces off. Look at the big picture. If Ukrainian forces are able to split the Russians down here in Zaporozhye, they will cause a serious gap between the Russian forces in Donetsk, Luhansk right here, and the Russian forces in Kherson. And this will severely complicate things for the Russian forces. That's all I have for you guys today. Be sure to like and subscribe for more content like this. Share this video with a family member or a friend. God bless, and I'll catch you guys next time.